Hello, it's October 15th, 2023. Happy big 50th birthday to my friend Aaron Draplin. This is going to be a little bit shorter video than normal. Nothing specific to focus on today, just wanted to show how the garden was looking after 2.5 weeks or so since the last one. I've not had a frost yet here this season. Should have one soon, but we've had a lot of rainfall recently, which has been good, although it's a little too late to impact most things in the growing season. What I'm showing here, there's one lone stalk of sunchoke that the deer missed, and it is blooming. So yellow flowers there. Most of the sunchokes have finished blooming by now. And then here we have a little bit of New England aster, the purple. You can see most of them, are not flowering. They should be about 6 feet tall, but they're knee-high instead. So as I pan around here, this brown stuff is the cup plant, and that's long been finished, and the goldfinches have been there eating the seeds now for a while. So I'm gonna pan around this way. You can see there's not a ton of fall color showing yet. The weather's been a little weird. It's been fairly cool. We had some real warmth, like 80, almost 90 degree days, and then now it's been cool and rainy for a week or so. I just noticed this morning the goddamn deer have discovered this quince tree and taken an interest in it, and so there's 3 fruits out of maybe 7 on the tree that they needed to take off and chew on. So these are nice large fruits. You can see there's deer shit on the ground too. So they just kind of want to ruin. There's deer pellets there. Pick this fruit off and just gnaw at it a little bit, which is totally stupid. There's one pretty well eaten over there. So maybe the ones that are still here, if I should take this off, see if I can ripen it indoors or something. This is only the second year that this has had any fruit on it. So I'm not real well versed in the best way to handle quince fruit, if you wait until it falls off the tree to get it, or if you pick it a little sooner. I think it's still rock hard. Reportedly, this variety of Romatnaya is supposed to be almost edible off the tree, but I don't know if I believe that. Show a few things here. This graft of Asian pear grew 4 or 5 feet this year. At the end of the year, where's our graft union? Oh, it's healed over pretty well now. You can't see it that well. Before it was more distinctive, but it's pretty well healed over. And just one nice trunk. Sorry for the focus. So that's made good growth. The deer have not bent that over and eaten the top off of it yet. This graft over here of Illinois everbearing mulberry did pretty well. And yeah, you can see it's just kind of the bummer time of fall. Things are winding down. As I pan over here, there's a little bit of fall color starting on the sugar maples. I don't know if we're going to get real striking colors this year. Sumacs were quite vivid a couple weeks ago. My last video, they were already turning fairly red. So flower-wise, there's very little happening. There's a few odd echinacea here and there. There's some of these little weedy white asters that I don't know the names of, but they're one of the few cheerful things in the late season, like this type of stuff here. And what else? Yeah, the New England asters, they are trying to make a few flowers, even though they're just knee-high. And so with all the rain we've had, been a lot of mole tunneling in my path here. I think this amber autumn olive still has a few fruits on it. This is a pretty long season here. I'm going to pick a couple of these off and just show you the size of them, because they're pretty damn large. They're larger than I think most any other autumn olive I've got or have seen. Let's see if I can focus here. Yeah, they're pretty long season of bearing and pretty large fruit. Come on, focus. Come on. Okay. Yeah, still pretty bland. Not really a real winner in the flavor game. This pear tree's dropped most of its fruit now. I think the deer have had the better part of it. I shook a few off of there. But yeah, didn't do much with those this year. Now this chestnut tree has a bunch of burrs this year. I'm guessing none of them were actually had viable chestnuts in them. I'm gonna give this thing a little shake and see if anything falls out. Sorry. Well, nothing fell out. Some of the burrs are split open up there, but the few that I've seen fall out were just duds, you know, unpollinated ones. And over here, we've got a little bit of color on Nannyberry, and very few fruits left on this bush, although there are some on another bush. This hazelnut, I've not really been over here picking these, so I'm sure the wildlife are getting a lot of them. There's still a fair number on there. I have been harvesting some hazels for seed collecting, and then some for eating also. Over here, the apples mostly done, though this one south tree here has a lot on it still. This is a really late apple. It never really develops a great flavor. It gets quite dark. I don't think it's like an Arkansas black type of apple, but you'll see some of them, you know, that's just like a normal bright red, but some of them get, you know, real dark, almost black. I hope that things are focusing in this camera because I'm going about blind. I need to wear glasses soon, and I can't always see on the screen whether things are perfectly in focus or not. So I hope that I'm not just showing blurry video all the time. The joys of getting old. So over here, the nursery area, I've gotten rid of a lot of plants. Took some plants yesterday to the Michigan nut growers meeting over near, what town was that? North of Chelsea, Michigan. Yeah, see, we've had a lot of rain. These poor ginkgos. There's a Kentucky coffee tree. We're just marinating in that standing water. But I took about a dozen of those nice bort nuts from Jim Somerville's plant, nice tree. That's what these tall things here are. And got some new homes for those. A few chestnuts in here to dig. Whatever this bramble is here that I got from Dan Owens last year, it's setting fruit really late in the season. Don't know what they're going to be exactly, but we'll see soon if the frost doesn't get them first. And the deer have been nibbling on these as well. But yeah, I got some quite nice bort nuts. I don't really know what I'm going to do with them. I'm kind of trying to give them all away, or most of them. I could maybe plant out a couple more, but you know, getting a little limited for space here at this property, unless I really want to cut down tons of trees later. So good growth on some willows and elderberries and some currants in there. And this is one thing I forgot to show in my last video. Now I probably won't have any to show. Oh yeah, there's a couple. So this is a freakish late fruiting black cap raspberry, and it fruits, you know, a good 2 months or more later than the species does. And I'm not sure why. It's just kind of an anomaly. But I think I've gotten a lot of fruit off of here. But yeah, this is good edible blackcap fruit right there. So yeah. Oh, there's Big Boss. Big Boss. Just rubbing on some catnip. Hunter, how you doing, bud? Hey there. Haven't seen you in a while. What you doing? Yeah, I know. Okay, what do we want to show here? So yeah, these bort nut seedlings, looking for homes for those. And these massive pecan trees, those are kind of a bummer. Probably have to cut those down soon. Getting a little bit of fall color on the hazelnut over there. This flame willow is kind of pretty. I'm not sure even what route I'm going to take. Ooh, there's a dead something in the path. Maybe the cat got that. Don't know if I'll go show the pawpaws over here. Not much to show. I did harvest most of the hazelnuts that were in the hedgerow between the neighbor's property and mine over there. And those are in mostly shade. Sorry for the junk pile. Here's a good specimen of nannyberries. So these fruits are edible at this stage. They're getting crinkly. They're fully purple. And so those are a good nibble as you walk around. Wouldn't really make a meal out of them because there's not much. If you ate this whole tree worth of fruit, you would, I don't know how many calories it would be, but it wouldn't be very many. So more of a novelty snack than a survival food. But it's good diversity and neat plant. And the fruit is good. It's like a spiced date paste. So a lot of the autumn olive bushes have finished. I've harvested some. I've not really harvested any in quantity to do anything with. I was thought about making tomato sauce out of them this year and didn't do that. There's Chinquapins over there. The stupid European highbush cranberry there. Need to cut that thing down. Yeah, kind of chaotic scene here. Pan over, you can see the sumacs have lost a lot of their leaves already. And this plum here is not really coloring up too much yet. This hazelnut's getting a little bit of color. I've harvested everything pretty much off of that bush. I need to cut these plums here down quite a bit to give more sun back to this hazelnut. So my grafts did pretty well over here, except where the deer just murder them over and over. There's an aromatnai quince there, future deer food. I think that's a wild goose plum or some kind of a oikos plum there. That's not a graft. That's the noon whistle, I believe. It's not a terror attack. Pawpaw there, another graft there of an Asian pear. This Missouri gooseberry gets some nice color in the fall. And this pear, I think this is a Kiefer pear. This turning kind of purple. And these cursed things, these goddamn horse nettle things, I hate those, but they're showing up right now. As fall comes on, you know, things change colors at different speeds, and so some things reveal themselves at this time of year that you wouldn't have noticed any other time of year, where everything is just green, green, green. These are kind of small autumn olives, but they're pretty good. So again, this year my chestnut harvest was kind of between the two videos that I made, but there are still a few. I'm gonna come over here. Now this tree, this adolescent tree here, it's probably 6-7 years old, I would guess, and probably 12 feet tall or more. It has some burrs this year. That looks like a bunch of duds in that one. This one's not open yet. This is a seedling of Allison's trees. So I think last year I had my first chestnut, and it was just maybe one burr off of a seedling of Allison's trees. And her trees, we've been going over to harvest a couple times in the last week or two. They've been falling, and that's been great. And her pecans also. And I just took a bunch of pecans to the Michigan Nut Growers meeting yesterday and gave some of those away, and people are impressed with that pecan. They say it's a very nice one for Michigan, even nicer than some of the cultivars. So it makes me think that it may be a grafted tree and not a seedling tree, although the graft is not really obvious if it is grafted. So yeah, panning around here, there's some young chestnuts over here, sea buckthorn there that's never grown very well, autumn olive, taller stuff. These sumacs are kind of faded past their prime. And yesterday it was real rainy and a miserable day. Otherwise I would have harvested a couple of garbage bags full of these sumac heads to bring to people at the nut growers meeting. Because I guess people who keep bees like to use somehow they use the berries to smoke bees out of their thing. So the color-wise here, you're seeing some catalpas there with the lighter leaves. I started putting tree guards on my, that's a pecan there that's growing at a terrible angle. Here's a pecan, there's several pecans over here. This is a pecan here. And so now we're gonna see, you hear the blue jays probably, they're pissed off. So this Chinquapin chestnut, this one I've already harvested. I'd say it's probably 2/3 of the way through its production. It's almost done. But we're gonna look here and see what these things look like. They're pretty cool. So you can see ones that I've already harvested, and I've been doing these one by one by hand, and you can see how they kind of split their burrs open just in two halves, and then they hold on to the nut for a while. Hopefully this is in focus. So the nut is kind of held in there for a while, and that's pretty cool. So they will eventually fall out and fall into the ground, but I've been picking them, or the animals have been picking them before they kind of get to that point. So I'm not gonna mess with too many of these here today. Maybe just a couple of easy ones to show you the size of it. But they're really a neat looking little nut. They look kind of like a candy corn. And this is about all the larger these get on my trees. There may be hybrids of this that get to be double the size or something. But it's a neat crop for wildlife. You can see like here's a little dud. That one did not get pollinated. So some of them, but on this tree almost all of them did get pollinated. This other tree that I have, which is, sorry for the focus, come on, focus. This one is finished. Come on, okay. This one is maybe a week or 2 weeks earlier than this other tree, and they must pollinate each other. But you can see all the little duds on this one here. They're probably 80% duds on this tree. So this one seems to catch the other one, but it doesn't really work vice versa that well. So hopefully once I have more things growing out here, my pollination will be better. And this bigger chestnut tree, this is like a Chinese chestnut. You can see there's a few burrs open on there, but the harvest is basically done. I'm gonna walk over here and see if I can see anything on the ground, but I'm guessing that most of the nuts would have already fallen out by now. There were not many. These were mostly duds this year too. So here's a burr. And these are, you know, pretty good sized burrs. But yeah, there's just a blank in there. Actually, that's a Chinquapin. Somebody must have picked that up and brought it over here and it dropped. So I've been throwing the burrs over in a pile. Actually, here's a nut, an actual nut that fell. So not a huge nut on this tree. They do get a little bit bigger than this, what we're seeing in my hand right now. But yeah, I think the peak drop for this tree would have been in the last week or so, and just not seeing very much on the ground. Here's another one. So you see I did come in and do some mowing. That's a little bit larger. That's more typical of the size of this tree. You know, chestnuts will make different sized nuts from the same tree depending on, you know, maybe how much sunlight it was getting or how much nutrition or a number of factors. They won't all be uniform necessarily. So yeah, that's about all I'm seeing. There are some deer hoof prints in here. There's the blue jay. He or she probably really loving this Chinquapin tree right now. So I hear them all the time when I'm over here. It's like, hey, that's my stuff, get away from there. But I'm not really seeing any on the ground here, very few. So I've been pretty diligent about picking these things up, and I'm sure the wildlife are getting onto it too. Maybe that one fell and is sprouting, I can't really tell. They do sprout in the fall. I'm gonna put that under the ground here and see. Maybe it'll grow into a new tree. But yeah, they are like a fall sprouting nut, like a white oak family nut. Speaking of white oaks, this is a swamp white oak here. I've harvested some of the nuts from below this tree. They're done, I think, now. And let me see here. This is a graft of a persimmon that grew pretty well. And these over here, there's 4 so-called Seguin chestnuts. 1, 2, 3, 4, and they've finished dropping their nuts, I think, for the year. I'll go take a quick look, but I think they're done. These were probably 10 days ago, you know, a week or so ago was probably the peak. But you know, they do drop over a period of time, so I'll give this tree a little shake, see if anything comes out, but I'm guessing it'll just be a few empty burrs, if anything. And this bark has some damage. I don't know what these vertical splits. You know, there could be blight. I'm guessing, well, I'm almost sure that this tree has some blight. Oh, there's some empty burrs that fell down. But yeah, I think it's blight, but I'm not sure if those vertical striations are also blight. So yeah, just some duds here. That's not a real nut. But these are small nuts. They're attractive, dark nuts. But more, again, for wildlife value probably than human food. Although if they have a sweet flavor, it'd be worth, you know, harvesting them. So here I'm seeing an autumn olive bush that's just loaded. This thing's got some really nice fruit. This one came from Oikos originally. Let me see if I can not shoot into the sun, although it's a very cloudy day. A little well-worn deer trail here. And check out the fruit on this sucker. And that's some nice sized fruit there too. Good stuff. So yeah, you could slide your hand along this branch and pretty quickly, have a bucket full of fruit. And look, there's no stems. There's an ant, which I don't want to consume the ant. But I don't know if you can see, it's not going to show up that well, but really nice fruit. Come on, sucker, focus. Okay, there we go. But yeah, these dried up berry clusters on the sumac, I guess can be used for smoking bees. Who knew? Now you know. I know. Okay. Do maybe the final check of the year. Now, this wound is not quite grown over. It's still got quarter-inch pear graft from last year. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful heavy fruit production on this watermelon. I could probably make a few quarts of tomato sauce just from that one plant. Here's a graft. I don't think I'm not sure if it's going to live forever, but there's a graft I did of a chestnut onto this marginal chestnut that's never done very well. Okay, so moving on. I'm try to keep this under 30 minutes because I have to go do something this afternoon too. But yeah, showing how things look back here. Kind of a drab, lackluster fall so far. Little hints of color, but nothing too remarkable. There's persimmons ahead that have some sort of nice yellowish color. And hazelnuts, they're variable. Some years in some plants are better than others. So this one, it's got some color to it. Not super vivid. That one's already lost most of its leaves. But this is the first try I really harvested from these couple of plants there. And they're old. They've been there for, oh, here's the sun. Those have been there for at least 10 or 12 years. Japanese walnut, I think there. Oh, there's the sun. Look at that. It's pretty. Yeah, you get nicer fall colors if you've got a sunny day with some low angle sunlight coming through. That's the best. It really kind of illuminates everything. Cloudy Michigan days don't give you the same effect. So the little blue stem here is kind of all coloring up. The dewberries are coloring up. Pretty vivid red. I did put some guards again, some pretty half-assed guards on some things that I thought might be candidates for deer to rub on. And then as I pan over here, you'll see this lighter color yellow stuff. Maybe you can, maybe you can't see it. That is the stupid horse nettle. That little, it's in the tomato family, and it has little kind of tomato-like fruit, yellow. The whole plant is covered with these annoying thorns. And if you've ever had it or dealt with it in your garden, you know how annoying of a plant it is, because it tears up your fingers, and it's kind of an ugly plant to boot. So yeah, not my favorite. Dog bane, kind of turning a little sooner. Asparagus starting to show a little bit of fall color. These lighter yellow things here, asparagus. And then this stuff, which I just recently learned, what do they call this stuff? Pearly everlasting or something? The plant has a real strong fragrance of like fenugreek, kind of like a curry flavor. Interesting, and it's a late flower in the garden, and it seems to do good at this site. And I've got more of it than I thought I did. At first I thought it was something else, but I'm kind of glad to have that around. So here's kind of the southern extent of my plot here. Looks like the birds have been visiting, or something's been visiting to get these fruits off of the red osier dogwood. That's good. Something making use of them. There's a couple fresher ones here. White little fruits. They're cute. There's another similar, I think it's also a dogwood species they call doll's eyes. It grows in the woods. There's a box elder seedling. So yeah, it's not peak fall color, although in certain areas some trees are quite pretty. At this garden, this time of year. So far it's not looking too hot. And some years you just don't get good fall color. It just really depends on the weather that you have. I mowed a bit here, trying to keep this laneway open. I mow this, kind of stagger mow it, so I'm not getting it all at one time. So that, it has different flowers blooming and it's better for wildlife and everything. So if you just cut everything at once, you're kind of wiping it back to zero. So the persimmon area here, there's just a little bit of color starting. Not a hell of a lot, but I had a couple of good grafts that took pretty well this year, so I'm excited that in a year or two I might have a couple persimmons to finally eat after waiting a very long time. A couple of nice hazelnut bushes here. I think I actually gave these names. Edgewood Prolific, I think is what I called this one. I picked a lot of the nuts off of it, but this is a pretty good one here, and I think that one is also not too bad. And it's called Edgewood because there's sort of the edge of a woods here, where this little woodland becomes grassland. And then got one of my marking posts there. So yeah, more hazelnuts over here. These are wild ones, and probably need to come and brush hog this right of way here. This is going to grow up pretty quick. But I was surprised at some of the production. I think it was maybe that bush there and some others that were had regrown in the last 3 years since this was mowed by the power company. Or I guess mowed is too kind of word for it. They thrashed it with some kind of a flail thing and tore up, did a lot of disturbance. Yeah, there's a hazelnut back there. There's some oaks on the edge here. And here again, you can see there's like a Japanese walnut there, showing its colors now at this time of year, and maybe making itself more known to deer too. Or persimmons there, showing some yellow color. These couple of hazelnut bushes here had some decent production this year, but they were early and I kind of missed the boat. I was a little too late to come harvest, and I missed out. That's okay. I don't need to harvest everything. Here's some late yarrow, so probably this is because it got mowed. It regrew, and normally you don't see yarrow flowering at this time of year, but that's nice. This is another pretty prolific autumn olive, very tall, and it's probably stimulating the growth of these hazelnuts that are near it. And there's a nice little hazelnut here somewhere that was producing at a very small size. I think I picked all the nuts off of it. Was it this one? Maybe this one. Maybe the nuts have already vanished. But for a small, just 2 or 3 year old tree, had a lot of stuff on it. So that was pretty cool. I'm getting buzzed by a bee. Nine bark has kind of lost half of its leaves. Here's another good prolific autumn olive here. This one has some heavy fruit set and a good flavor, and it comes off easily in your hand and without stems, which is a key feature, because I find if an autumn olive has stems attached, there may be something wrong with that particular fruitlet. You have to kind of pick. I don't like spitting the stems out personally, so try to not pick from the plants that keep too many stems attached. So I think I'm going to kind of wrap this up. Sorry for the short and unplanned, unscripted, unthought about video, but just to show how things are. October 15th. It's a nice time of year, winding down. The vegetable garden's about done. Winter's coming soon, so time to plant some plants, transplant things, divide things, give plants away to people to plant for fall planting, etc. And then you've got all winter to plan about things and dream about next year's garden. But yeah, enjoy this little colorful bit of fall while it lasts. Oh, here's some peach pits. I'm going to plant these out. These are from that large yellow peach that I have. Need to get those into planting medium somewhere. So anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time.